Hey guys, my name is Nicholas Alexander and I'm a drummer. Today we're going to talk about percussion, cymbals, and cabling. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the cymbals I'm using. We can start with the hi-hats. I'm using a Zildjian 14-inch heavy rock hi-hats because it gives it the more lower mid-rangey tone, and it kind of differs from the snares when you hit it. So when you do EQ it, you get the low tone that the hi-hats do give off, and it's really nice. And you're not using a super bright hi-hats that would blend in with the snares. This is like on its own type of mid-rangey low with the kick almost. So that's why we use these hi-hats. Working our way around the kit, we're gonna come here to my first crash cymbal. This is a Sabian AAX stage crash. It's an 18-inch stage crash, and it's one of the cymbals that if you hit soft, it gives a lower frequency, but if you hit harder and the more velocity it hits, it's a higher pitch tone, which is cool, and I like using it. Here we have a China crash. It's also by Zildjian, and it's the trash China, which means it's not very precise. It's kind of like very swingy, if you could use that word, and it gives a really good sound, and I as well like using this with almost every song because it works in a lot of songs, and I really like using it. The next cymbal here is also Zildjian, and it's a custom 17-inch crash. This is more it's not like the other crash where if you hit soft it gives a low tone, and if you hit hard it gives a high tone. This is a very in place type of frequency, meaning it doesn't really go all over the place. It's very one sound, and that one sound sounds good with almost every song you try to put it to, and I also like using this on every song. I don't change it too often. The next cymbals we have here are actually two of them. I'll take this off real quick so you can kind of see them. It kind of cracked, but that's okay. I'm using a Sabian B8 8-inch not a splash, almost that symbol. And I'm also using it with a Sabian AAX 10-inch splash. And the reason why I put both of these together instead of separate is because if you put these two type of cymbals together, you get what's called a stack, and that's kind of like a secondary hi-hat if you put them on the bolts tight enough, and it gives it a real type sound. So like you could have this right here. I usually have it on the China cymbal, but for right now I have it on the ride because I like it right there better, and I usually do a certain type of groove with it. So it's like a syncopated groove, but I like this a lot because it gives it a different sound on different type of songs and different placements. So that's why I use it so much, and it's a really good sound. We're going to move to the right here, the last cymbal, and this is a 22-inch, I believe. I'm going to go from half and half, 11, yeah. So it's a 22-inch hard rock ride, and this is a very dynamic ride, I would say, because it gives it the high frequencies. It also gives it the kind of low mid-range frequencies around the bell area. But here, you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but on the edge, it's very high, or it's higher, and in the center, it gets lower, and the bell sounds very, very good for a lot of things. And this is a very dynamic. You can use it in practically every song, and it's just so good. That's it for cymbals. Let's go on to percussion and see what I'm using there. For percussion, we have the usual suspects. Come down here. We have a hi-hat tambourine used by many different drummers, especially famous drummers, if you know who I'm talking about. I love to use this on the hi-hats for when I'm rolling, and I can just press down on the hi-hat. It gives that tambourine nice sound. Over here, we have a standard size, medium size cowbell by LP. If you have a bigger one, that's for more the lower tone. This is the standard, so if you can hear that, it's a very standard, more in the middle tone. And if you have a smaller one, it's going to be higher toned. But I like this because getting standard size cowbells is great. We also have a standard size wood block, also by LP. And again, if you're getting a bigger one, that's because you're really going to use this and make it be heard. But since this is not very out there, we decided to go with, or I decided to go with the standard size because there's nothing really all too much to hear. So I really like the standard size tones that it gives with it. I also use shaker eggs because it gives it its own certain tone, and this can actually save you a lot of time when you're making a song or writing it and you're deciding to add a sample of a shaker. You can just shake it on your own and see if that works, and if it does work, you know what type of sample to look for, and that would work with your song. So having a couple of these around will really help you. That's why I like using them so much. We also have a harmonica. I don't know why this is in here. It kind of snuck in, but you know, harmonicas are cool. It's a blues band, but that's not really what I was looking for. We also have bells. These are more of the these work really well type of Christmas themes, but a lot of hip hop guys use this and the in a rapping part. So you know, you get the, and they're rapping. You know, I don't know how to rap, but you can hear these in a lot of hip hop songs if you really listen to it. So that's why I like having these around, because you never know when you can use them. And then I have Latin percussion bongos. I use this a lot in a lot of songs actually. Many people use these in songs. I'll turn it around here. Yeah, okay, so you can see right here. A lot of people use this on rock songs, especially at the end, but most people don't really listen for it. But if you listen to a lot of someone like Toto, you can hear a lot of these at the end of their songs. I like using these in a Latin remix that we have, and I also use these in a lot of rock songs because it's just kind of, you know, something else to give to it at the end of the song that kind of stands out from the rest of the hooks and the verses. So I love using this.
This is a snake box.
It's a seismic audio. It's a 24 sends by 8 returns. So it has 8 returns and 24 sends and the 100-foot long cable which runs through the floor and comes up into the control room, which we will go over that in a later video. If you want to go check that out, you can. I'd be happy if you check that out. But if I could take a second to mention that as a drummer, you have a lot of mics on your kit. We have 13 mics on our kit, which means we need 13 cables to go into the control room. And having a good, reliable snake is one of the key things of recording a song. Even though the guitarist and piano players and even the bassist maybe may have their own set of cables that they need to pass through, having your own snake for recording is absolutely a necessity when you're planning on recording a good album. So that's our snake. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I like talking about the cymbals. I bet you have your own pair of cymbals that you use. We're using 3 different types of cymbals. One is more dynamic, the other one is more pinpoint, and the China is more trashy and dirtier. The grit of the cymbals is what you could call it. Instruments like the shaker eggs, the cowbell, the wood blocks, the bongos, the hi-hat, tambourine, which are all great. And if you listen to a lot of top rock bands, they're using these kind of instruments at the vamp or the end of a song, which if you listen closely, you can. As well, the snake box, if you're wondering about that, I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you're the tiniest bit of confused, settle that confusion by going back and checking it again And if you're still a little bit confused, there's a lot of videos on the interweb about it. So, just search snake box or audio snake box and you can find a whole bunch. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'm Nicholas Alexander, and I'll see you next time. Bye.